Let's all take a moment to pay our respects to our dearly departed friend, Angel Batista. Gone, but certainly not forgotten. Let's be honest, the writing had been on the wall. In our gut, we all probably knew it was coming. But fear not, we will be paying tribute to him today. I have got an absolute bloody doozy of a podcast for you. Welcome, my friends, this is Dissecting Dexter, the world's longest running Dexter podcast, and proud of it. I'm Gareth, of course, your host, and we're back to talk about Dexter Resurrection. It's the penultimate episode, episode 9, written by Scott Reynolds. It was a roller coaster of emotions and ended on a bum note for Angel Batista, but we're not going to be downhearted. Oh no, because we've got a good conversation coming up. I'm recording this intro a bit early to save time on the call later. I say on a call later because I am on a call later. Scott himself is back. He's back with us this week to talk about the episode, and he's not alone. Oh no, he's got company, and if you've seen the podcast description, you'll know who it is. I am very honoured and so excited to have a chance to chat with David ZAYAS. Oh yes, Batista himself is having his own resurrection and joining us here on Dissecting Dexter. I'm so happy. As you'd expect, I have lots to ask him, and we're going to dig deep. It's actually the second time that I've spoken to David. He joined me for my very first Dissecting Dexter interview. It must be over 10 years ago now. It was in between seasons 7 and 8. It was podcast number 50. And he joined me to chat about the show way back then. Oh, I was so green. Okay, so before we get into the conversation, let me get a quick bit of housekeeping out of the way. It's the usual blurb, because I always take a moment to thank the lovely people who support me on Patreon. Running a podcast does incur a few costs, and the Patreon support helps to cover it. And keep things going. Supporting me at www.patreon.com/dissectingdexter can net you an assortment of benefits, not least ad-free podcasts and access to the Patreon exclusive shortcuts, shorter podcasts that I do from time to time just for the Patreon supporters. I did one last week. Check out the Patreon page to find out more. Thanks to my newest supporters, James, Blue and Alexander. Extra thanks go to the higher tier supporters, Nick, Des, Phil, Jennifer, Kelly, John and Ryan. For the podcast this week, I'm keen to get this one out as soon as I can, so I intend to split it again and do the feedback separately. So please keep an eye out on your podcast apps and watch out for that in another day or so. Thanks to everyone who's dropped me a line so far, whether it's email, Twitter, Spotify comments, Facebook, it's all appreciated. Elsewhere, the Original Sin petitions continue to grow. Please, if you've not signed all of them, take a minute to do that and add your name to the growing list of people wanting to save Dexter Original Sin. Alright, let's not waste any more time, and get on with the conversation about this monumental episode. It's garnering rave reviews from fans and getting very big ratings on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes. Credit to cast and crew. Okay, this is Dexter Resurrection, Season 1, Episode 9, Touched by an Angel. Original air date the 29th of August 2025, written by Scott Reynolds and directed by Marco Siega. Alright, so I am absolutely delighted, beyond delighted, to be joined today by writer and executive producer Scott Reynolds, who scribed this episode. Hi Scott, welcome back.
Hello, yeah, good to be back. Did it with Matt Vane too. He did the story by. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, we mustn't forget him.
On hell.
Indeed. And speaking of which, I am just as delighted to welcome Angel Batista himself David ZAYAS. It's back to the podcast. Hi, David.
Woo! How you doing? How's everything?
Yes, little ripple.
Glad to be back.
Excellent. Yes. Just saying before we recorded that you were my first interview over 10 years ago for podcast 50, and it's great to have you back. And obviously the timing is absolutely perfect for the show, for episode 151. Welcome both of you.
Thank you.
It's obviously been a great year for the ZAYAS household, isn't it? With Resurrection and your good lady wife doing gangbusters in The Bear. What a time.
She's a lot more famous than I am.
Not after this season. Me.
But that's the way I like it. You know.
Oh, it's brilliant for both of you. And of course, quite a bit has happened since you were last here, Scott. Obviously, the awful news that came through a week or so ago about Original Sin. Obviously, we've spoken offline a little bit about it. Once again, on behalf of all the listeners and the fan base, we're sorry.
Me too.
Probably not as sorry as you are.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? TV nowadays. I don't get it. But
Indeed.
All we could do is press forward and do the best job that we can.
I'm lost. I mean, what are you talking about? The end of this past episode, or
Original Sin being canceled?
You're both frozen, so I could. The sound is kind of like.
Sorry, we've got some broadband issues somewhere.
I'll do the best I can. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we're just saying about Original Sin being cancelled after one season. Yeah, so there's petitions out there. I notice the main one has over 66,000 signatures and still increasing. So that's great. We can only hope it might make some positive difference. But the elephant in the room is your side of the table, David, with it being your last episode on Dexter.
No one said it was my last episode. But
that is true.
Why did you think?
That is true.
Why did you think that?
I just want to clear it up.
I should know better, shouldn't I? But I mean, never say never. But obviously, in terms of the living timeline, it was a farewell, and for you, I guess it's a little bit weird, is it, David? I mean, you probably filmed this episode. Would it have been March or April? So you said your goodbye to the character in a way then, and then you're doing it again now with the fans. It's like a double grieving. It must be a bit strange, is it?
Well, yeah. Well, I knew the outcome when we started shooting, and I accepted it way before we shot the scene. So it's it was just great for the story. It made sense for the story, and it was logical, and it wasn't a cop-out. And I think that, as you saw in the episode, the writing is fantastic, the directing is fantastic, and we have some really great actors with us. And I'm just happy to be able to take the journey of Angel Batista from A to Z, and within a 20-year span, off and on. And so it's to me, it's a happy occasion that I get an opportunity to play a role for so long, and really see it grow, and character-wise, throughout the seasons, and of course, coming to this season, Resurrection.
Yeah.
That said, when the day that we were actually shooting this, David, it was an emotional day. Like it was though I was prepared and you were prepared and Michael was prepared. Right. Once we put it on its feet, we all, Marcos, everybody, Clyde, we were all just sort of like, it felt like a holy moment, or like it was very emotional. I got choked up at the rehearsal of it, and then when it was on its feet. And you were like that with that weak voice of Dexter Morgan. I'm getting choked up now. Like Dexter Morgan, fuck you.
Right.
And then Dexter's cry into the void. Like all of us were at Video Village, just like, oh my God, what are we?
No, it was a powerful. It's a powerful moment, and
Yeah,
you know, it's my mindset is a little different. Actually, acting in the scene, you
yeah,
know, because I just, you know, I don't want to anticipate all the great moments that are in that scene, and I just needed full concentration. So I was able to separate that emotion for the moment and bring the emotion of Angel Batista and try to make it as real as possible, you know, so that it would work. But yeah, no, it was an emotional day, and it, you know, yeah, it's something that I would have loved to, you know, continue to play. But the story, I think, I think it was the right choice for that particular story this year in Resurrection.
I remember when we spoke before, I asked you something along the lines of the future of Batista and if he were ever to be written out of the show, how you'd feel about that. And I remember you saying then that the show is called Dexter, and everyone else on the show is there to serve Dexter's story. So essentially, que sera, sera. What, you know.
That's correct.
And that's how it's played out. A friend of mine, a listener of the show and frequent contributor, Travis, came out with a good phrase, and I don't know if it's one that's you've already heard. La pasión has passed on, which I thought was really good. So thank you to Travis for that one.
It is a bittersweet moment, but it's a like I said, it's something that needed to happen to propel the story, particularly you know, to continue it after this season.
Yeah, and it certainly landed. Scott, it was lovely hearing your description of what it felt like on the set on the day, and I'm not surprised it was as emotional for you guys. It was for me, and my wife sat here watching it in our living rooms, and it, as I say, it landed perfectly, and had a huge impact that left us just sort of staring quietly at the screen as the credits started and that song started to play, Mad World, which is a really great choice.
Was that Gary Jules, right? Was that Gary?
Yes.
Jules?
Yeah, and that was a special. He recorded that special for the show. This isn't even like
the
one from Donnie Darko. It's like if you listen to it again, you'll hear like slight differences, and his voice. He's older now, you know, and so
well, I know Gary for a long time.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You know that? You didn't know that,
No.
right? So Gary Jules is, you know, my friend, the writer Stephen Aligirgis. Yeah, he's been his friend for decades. So I've gone to see Gary in the little clubs, and you know, him recording with other people. And when I heard that, I was as surprised as anyone, and I was like, "That's Gary singing on my," and you didn't know that, so it's like
I didn't know that.
It just connects, you know.
Oh, I love that.
Serendipity.
Goosebumps. Yeah, that's great.
It's not just a mad world; it's a small world, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah. So yeah, as I say, as the credits rolled, we sat there in stunned silence, and I messaged you, Scott, and told you that I started, after a few moments, I turned to my wife and started to say something, and she just went, "Shut up," because she was still sort of processing, and we
worked real hard this season to make the end credits part of the experience, and I think it never hit as hard as it did this episode, where you see the cloth being put out, and suddenly you realize these are the Cuban guys making those hats that Batista wears, and blocking them and doing all, you know, with this song playing over it. This, and then the subway of this sort of feeling like of traveling, you know, of where's Batista, you know, like all of that. Like it was, we worked hard to make that happen with Rocket Lab. They do the quick, they do the opening and the ending parts. But yeah, that was like, I was like, we need to do the hats. We need to. I told Rocket Lab we need to put the hats in there because
that was great.
That's our man. That's our man. Yeah.
Really, really good choice. Yeah. All right. So obviously we'll talk more about the conclusion of the episode as we get to that part of the show. If it's okay, let's sort of work our way through the episode because we pick up on the cliffhanger from last week, which was a great sort of holy shit moment with Prater coming into the restaurant, thinking, how's Dexter going to wriggle out of this one? And we spent the week speculating as to what Prater may or may not know and how the heck did Charlie find him. Harrison does a good job of winging it. He genuinely seems to know a thing or two about Prater. Right? Obviously, he's a famous man in the Dexter world. But Dexter just can't wait to get him outside.
Yeah, and I just love his enthusiasm.
Yeah,
he just can't believe that I'm sitting here with this is like Elon Musk just sat down next to me, or Mark Cuban, or pick your billionaire, Peter. I don't know. And Dexter's just like, shut up.
Yeah. Excuse me.
By the way, that's my favorite steak in the city. At that place is the American Cut. I think it's called the restaurant. There's this. They have this pastrami steak that if you're a steak eater, you're in New York, hit it up. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Where exactly is that, Scott? It's on.
I don't know.
I've gone there a couple of times.
Tribeca. It's like near Tribeca. It's in Tribeca.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered if it was a real place because American Cuts, they're just having the cuts in the name just sounds like an appropriate Dexter venue. But just speaking of steak, I got to ask because Michael is vegan, isn't he? Is he not?
No,
I don't know.
Is that misinformation on the internet?
I mean, maybe he was at one point, but like he eats.
Oh.
The things you see him eat, he eats.
Yeah.
Because that was going to be my question, because we understood that he had gone vegan some years ago. Well, that's okay. Yeah. Well, that's the first scoop of the day, isn't it?
I didn't even know he was vegan. Yeah.
Because I was thinking last week, has he gone full method? Eating a steak on camera.
He ate the steak.
You're saying, wait a second, are you saying that Michael is vegan or Dexter is vegan?
There was a story that Michael had gone vegan after his illness.
I don't know.
Obviously, I don't know him, so I don't confirm or deny. But obviously, it's not the case.
I mean, I know he's not because I have shared many a hamburger with him.
Okay.
On set, like he knows where the great burger joints are. And he has them delivered, and he and I have eaten burgers together. I imagine you have too, Zayas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good signal that he's not.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as I say, that's the first surprise of the first scoop of the podcast. But so moving on then, so Dexter kind of reads Prater the Riot Act outside, even going as far as giving him a prod. Not on the forehead like his victims, but on the sort of collar there, which was quite a sort of a forward move. Was that in the script?
Yeah, no, it was. But what wasn't was the way that Dinklage played it, like that sort of shiver of delight. Got kind of turned on. This, ooh, the killer touched me. It's very good. Because that's one of the things that, like, when we were talking to Dinklage, he was like, and he did it to you, Zayas.
Oh yeah, no, he's brilliant. He comes up with really great stuff.
Touchy,
and it helped
and
me.
specific.
It helped me when I was, on the table. Yeah. It kind of freaked me out a little bit, which is good for that moment.
It's like touching your head, and
yes, and it was like it was just like a torturous kind of like, and he's so like unique in doing it. You know, he's just so brilliant.
That was him like saying, you know how like rich people feel like they own you, and they feel like they can touch you. There's no boundaries there. Like he does it with Charlie. He does it with ZAYAS. He does it with Dexter at the meal. Like comes up and puts his hand down his shoulder, and you know, it was a great choice. That I loved about Dinklage.
Yeah. So it's unclear to me, and I don't know if I missed something, how Charlie found Dexter. Obviously, she's looking very pleased with herself, very smug outside. How did she track him down?
She tracked him down. Like she remember when they were all kind of together, right? When she said, "I don't trust this guy within an inch of his life," and so she followed him. You know.
Yeah. Because we wondered if maybe she took down the license plates when because he drove himself to the Whirlybird, to the dock.
Yeah.
Whether she took his number plate
but at that point, that stuff doesn't matter to her, right? Like it's not.
Yeah.
I know who it is. She's in no way thinking that he isn't
right
the dark passenger. She's not thinking he's not red. She's just like, I don't know enough about him, and things are going weird the minute he showed up. And while I don't exactly understand what it is, something up, you know. And she was right.
Yeah, something hinky.
Something was up.
I love the chat outside between Dexter and Harrison, and it was just matter of fact, just Dexter being honest. It was
and
appropriate.
Also a little proud. It's fun to watch. You know, this is one of the themes of this season that we worked real hard with as far as Dexter goes, is Dexter struggling to be a dad and what that means. You know, because we all have good, bad, or otherwise issues with our real fathers, and they shape who we are. But this is Dexter trying to step up at every level, and in this sequence, like Dexter got to be proud dad. Yeah, look what I did. I took out these killers. I made the world a better place. When he goes, wait, you took out the Gemini killer? Killers, 2 twins.
Yeah,
and it's like a proud dad. Like you know, I know. I've seen you, ZAYAS, be just an incredible father to DJ, and see the way that he looks at you with such pride. And it's something we want, you know. And even Dexter, the serial killer, is looking for that. And I think it's very human and cool and good. Yeah.
Yes, I mean it's also that's a great way to show how whatever is happening is not black or white. There's a lot of gray, there's a lot of complication, there's a lot of you know, just like characterizations in what he's trying to do and how he's trying. And what's great about it is that everyone hears his thoughts. And he's telling everybody what he's feeling, what he's thinking, where people on the show don't know, but the audience knows.
Yeah.
So it really brings them in to that story and brings them into that character, you know.
Yeah. Man, you never felt it better than in that scene. We're jumping around. I'm sorry, Gareth. I'm ruining your format. But we got ZAYAS here.
It's all good. It's all good.
The scene in the car in a couple of was it episode 7 between Dexter. This just like fraught emotional sequence that you see this. It's like the breakup.
Yeah.
You were incredible in it. I mean, it's just me like going, ZAYAS, you were incredible in that scene. And your scene partner was incredible.
He was incredible.
Like this perfect storm.
It was, you know, it's almost like, you know, you're with somebody, whether it's your girlfriend or your wife or your sister or whoever, and you get in there's an argument or there is a misunderstanding that is there on the inside, but because there are people around, you have to act a certain way. But once that's gone and we're in the car, it's like the way it is if you've had an argument with somebody and you're sitting in the car driving home. You know, it's intense because the stakes are so high.
Yeah. And what I love about that scene, it's a rare moment in Dexter, and only Batista, as portrayed by David Zayas, could have really gotten away with this. Was, Dexter has that like heartbreaking reading of like, this is where you get out, meaning, please just stop,
stay away
this train. And Batista's answer is he gets ahead of Dexter and puts that AirPod case inside the thing, which you don't get to see Dexter get duped like that, and you don't see Batista like be deceptive like that. Like it was like new territory.
It was new territory because it's I'm doing it outside of any authority that I might have. It's just Wallace said, "Oh, so you had a warrant?" No, I'm not even supposed to be here. But I don't have a warrant, but I'm doing it anyway. And hey, I'm giving you the information. But it doesn't turn out that way.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Yeah. I mean, that scene in the car was chilling.
I lost my AirPod case for 4 days and was watching it traveling around until it landed at a coffee shop.
Wow.
So I was able to get it back. I traced it on my phone. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that scene was incredible. Both of you on point there, and Michael, how any semblance of sort of friendship or amicability there just dropped, and we saw Dexter, the serial killer, the Bay Harbor butcher there, didn't we? His eyes, his face,
but he was sad.
And he was almost, he's pleading with you, go back to Miami, just go. Don't want to hurt you, don't want harm to come to you, and it just makes, well, it's all been so heartbreaking. The whole arc has been heartbreaking.
No, it was definitely it was a great moment, and when I first read it, I'm like, oh, this is a great ending to that episode, and it was important to me, and I'm sure it was important to Michael for us to be as real and as without any, like, all the cards are on the table now. We see each other's cards, but we're going to play it out anyway, and that is something that, it was like that. You don't see that on most shows, that moment, especially with the history that Batista and Dexter has had over the past really 30 years. Because if you look at Original Sin, that was 91, right?
Yeah.
That's like 30 years. He's known this man for 30 years, worked alongside of him, thought he was his friend. And so now it's like just a totally different Batista, because, you get your innocence knocked out of you. You're gonna come back and try, especially with losing people that you loved and people that were close to you.
Yeah. And the weight that Batista had to, and you portrayed it so great, Zayas, the weight that he had to hold of like realizing Dokes died and received this. He was a good man who became the villain of all villains, and Maria came to him and said, "Hey, listen, I think this guy's it." And Batista's like, "Well, no, what do you stop? You're, and Deb, and just the way I feel like all of that was just like pounding Batista. Because he's a man of honor and a man who cares deeply, and he felt like he let down all of these people that he loved so much because of that. As you say, goddamn gee whiz smile.
That's
which
a great
you did
line.
Great, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote it.
Yeah, but you made it real.
I mean, you're saying there, Scott, about everything just piling on, and it's that weight that's been coming through in your performance, David, all season, is that we can just see this crushing weight on Batista's shoulders throughout, and it almost felt like the conclusion was inevitable. like he was heading, like he had no choice. He was on this train and he had no choice.
I think at that time, by episode 7, he was at the point of no return. You know, we could also, if you really get into it, Scott, we could blame Teddy for Batista's demise, for even giving him a call saying, "I found his truck."
It's all Teddy's fault.
It's all Teddy's fault.
Oh no.
Yeah, if he just could have forgot.
If he would have just not called me, I would be like hanging out in the backyard of Masuka's backyard, just hanging out and watching a movie.
Yeah.
Oh God, not thought of that. I mean, on any other day, it's quite possible. If he'd woken up and not had his coffee, maybe he could have forgotten, and we'd have been looking at a different show.
And I also think that the thing that really just, there was a point of no return is, he thought that he was dead for the past 12 years.
Yeah.
And when you find out a friend of yours is dead and all of a sudden 12 years later, they're alive, that's got to be shock. That's a shock right there. And then everything just fell into place in Batista's head. And then he knew that he had been duped for the past 30 years, not knowing, under his nose, not knowing. And I think that the accumulation of that and just his moral compass as to wanting to do the right thing and seeking justice, which, some people would argue, well, that was his curse. That was his curse. He should have just let it go. And I can't tell you how many DMs I get. But why didn't you go back to Miami, man? Well, I mean, I think that Batista is a real character. And it just amuses me every time when I get a message like that,
But he couldn't. He had to follow Dexter down into the subway and cuss in front of children.
Yeah. Mind you, that mother matched him.
Yeah, she did. It's very New York.
You got a little scared.
Yeah, she was intense. Do you think the turning point? Obviously, that was the holy cow moment for Batista when he got the call from Angela to say,
yes. I think the moment he saw Angela and Dexter's picture and realized that this isn't an old picture, this is a new picture, I said, he's alive. And so, this whole thing started back in New Blood, when the last episode of New Blood.
Yeah.
And then, it was like, he goes in, he talks to him, he takes off. And I don't think, Batista, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, I don't think Batista, had that momentum to go after him at, no matter what, until he got a call. He kept thinking, probably went back to Miami. He did go back to Miami because he had that scene with Quinn and Masuka. And you could, and I wanted to play that scene, the scene with Masuka and with Quinn. I wanted to have a heaviness about it that, like, I'm still getting pulled in that direction to go and find out the real deal, And it was the way it was constructed, with Clyde and Scott and all the writers and the director, Monica and Marcos. And I think that it was just dead on right. And it made my job as an actor a little easier, knowing, and just with the great writing that's there in front of me. It's like, it's like you could use imagination as an actor, but when a lot of it is in the page, God, that makes it so much, gives you so much space to, find certain nuances in it, because the writing is so good.
I love you, David Zayas. Why did they kill you? And he's amazing, obviously. That scene with the two guys, like, people were like, why didn't he tell him? And it's like, because it's crazy.
It's a little crazy.
It's crazy, to say without Batista getting the proof. It is crazy, and I feel like Batista was wearing it now because he'd let all these people down. Yeah.
And I think Batista knew that if he did this, it would have to be on the down low. It would have to be that he can't tell people what he's doing because it's, he doesn't have the authority to do it in New York,
Yeah.
And so.
And also, no one's going to believe that Dexter's the Bay Harbor Butcher.
Right.
It was Dokes. He had the slides. Like, the
proof
was there.
His picture's in the book.
Yeah.
Do you think Batista accepted that following this path might spell his doom? Like, if he can't prove it, he'll die trying. Do you think he was partly accepting of that possibility?
I think, I think his safety wasn't a priority in this. But the priority was to find the truth, to try to convince the NYPD that he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. Here's my proof. But just to make sure, I'm gonna follow him and try to catch him red-handed. And it just doesn't work out for him.
Yeah. So moving on in the episode, we join Harrison at the hotel. He gets an offer of work at the gala. For some good money. Something tells me he might take up that offer in the finale. But he gets ambushed by Charlie, and yet another interrogation scene for Jack Alcott.
The interrogation of Harrison.
Yeah, that's like it's been a running theme this season where he's a rabbit in the headlights.
And by the way, I'm sorry to interrupt, but how amazing Jack was in that role. Just from working with him, I'm like, wow, the commitment, I'm really caring about what he's doing, and that shows a really, Jack Alcott is a really great actor, and he brought it this season. He really stepped up and played every moment and every beat. He's a very good actor, and I loved working with him. He's really, wonderful.
Yeah, we're lucky once again. Yeah. And that scene between he and Charlie, like, Uma, just so easygoing, intimidating, right? Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I love how this sequence was edited. Obviously, you talked about this on Final Cut.
We wrote it that way.
It really works. It really works well. And we learn about how this conversation played out as Dexter does.
As Zayas said, the show is Dexter. So us being able to experience it through Dexter's point of view was very important, rather than just playing it. And Jack, Harrison matters, Charlie matters, but it's just so much better to play with storytelling and jump back and forth and watch Dexter process it, and we process Dexter processing it. Like, it was Marcos read it, was like, I know exactly how to do this. Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I think Harrison handled himself as well as he could have done in this scene, and I thought he displayed a little bit of his dad's penchant for quick thinking, where he said his mum's name was Hannah Morgan and not Rita Morgan, because of course if Charlie had put her name into Google, it would have come up with something quite alarming. Alarming for her, but exciting for Prater probably. But it was good because it piles further pressure onto Dexter, and had Batista not blown his cover later on, it feels like it was maybe only a matter of time before Prater and Charlie found out the truth themselves. But there was they touched on this notion of abandonment again in their conversation, and there's a little flash from Harrison that he's conscious of what their life is maybe going to be like if they stay together as father and son, that he's going to get pulled into stuff like this from time to time, no matter how hard Dexter may try to avoid it. And I wonder if there's maybe a little seed being planted of second thoughts, maybe a parting of the ways down the line.
I mean, Harrison is entering this relationship open-eyed now, Batista told him, you're going down a dark path, and it's true.
Yes.
He is.
Yes.
But he also loves his dad. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
We put him in a pickle.
Yeah,
and
you could say that.
And I like, we're watching Dexter become a more human being by his stopping. I want to detectivize this. I want all the information, and his saying, "Hey, I won't leave you again." Which is what this kid needed to hear right then. Whether you think it's manipulative or not, like I believe Dexter meant that, and Dexter's trying to be a good dad, and he's got this great, Harry there to remind him how to be a good dad. So,
yeah, I think they want to be able to be with each other, don't they? But speaking of fathers, Blessing, we have a scene where he and Dexter make up, and it was very nice to see Dexter apologize, and he seems sincere. I mean, obviously he ultimately wants a favor from Blessing, but I think he means it. He recognized at the time that he'd put his foot in it. He'd not meant to. And of course on the podcast we talked about that's perfectly regular human thing to do. We all do it from time to time. And Blessing forgives him, of course, and I was pleased because I feel like this put to bed any of the theories that Blessing is the Ripper. It was a very popular theory, and we've talked about it a lot on the podcast. And if you've been listening to them all, Scott, you'll know I was never really on board with it. I felt like it would be better for him to be an example of someone who's had appalling childhood trauma and not become a serial killer or become a violent person at all.
He became a better person. I
think that's a much more positive message and better for Dexter to see. That's how someone who's had trauma has turned out. And I think it was Intari himself who said in an interview that not everyone Dexter meets should be a serial killer.
That'd be crazy. He just happens to get in the car of the New York Ripper. What? And moves underneath him. Come on.
Yeah.
What are the
storytellers in that?
I'm living in the New York Ripper's basement. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a small world after all. Obviously, Blessing's got severe trauma. His mother was his rock. He's lost her and he's grieving. He's human. He's come off the rails a little bit emotionally, but he's just reacting. I hate to say the word normal again, but he's just reacting like anyone would, really. And Gigi's another one, bless her, where we meet someone new and we automatically have suspicions. I call it the podcaster's curse. Overthinking about everyone. There was the wrist injury with Gigi a couple of weeks ago, and I way overthought it. As I was reviewing the episode, I bet you were laughing at me. Probably just a talking point to get the two talking together. And of course, there have to be some regular folk in the show. Not everyone has to have a dark secret. But we've not talked about Emily Kimball, who plays Gigi. I think she's great. You picked a good one there.
I'm just going to say that there's a lot of roles in these shows. But I got to say that the actress that played Gigi, she was unforgettable to me. Like, she was unforgettable, and even though she didn't have that many, scenes in that episode, I was like totally, she's got the chops to do this, whatever's going to happen. And so anyway, I just wanted to say that I thought she was fantastic.
Yep, me too. Yeah, she gives and she takes, from Dexter. The way she treats Dexter is very funny. Who's this Gina Skank?
Right.
And the Dexter's like, oh no, sorry, I just got the name wrong. She's like, I know, Mr. Morgan.
She didn't say the line though, did she? I'm just effing with you.
Yeah. It was great.
She's great. She's got something. She's got a natural charisma and likability and a playfulness that really works in the role.
Yeah.
So Dexter finds where Charlie lives, and it was a small twist to find that she's got her mother there. It looks like she's or Prater's money's paying for maybe a live-in nurse, and I think we all just assumed she was in a hospital and that Charlie visited her there. But but no. I mean, there've been one or two theories that Charlie's mum's the Ripper, which I don't think she's unfortunately fit to do very much, not even lift a phone at this point. But hey, it's fun to speculate. I think everyone except Batista has been a suspect this season for the Ripper. That's
where we're about to
Harry,
reveal, isn't it?
Harry pops up, and he's an angry Harry, isn't he?
Batista's twin is the Ripper.
He calls Charlie a bitch.
Batista was the Ripper all along.
Wow. Sorry, I lost my sound there for a moment. It's back again. I think I carried on talking over you. I apologise.
Oh, sorry, didn't hear.
Yeah, so Harry shows up, and he's an angry Harry this time. He calls Charlie a bitch. He's different. He's like Dexter's almost trying to wind himself up, trying to get him all psyched up for what comes next. I guess the intention here was for Harry to light a fire under him to take action. I mean, we don't normally see Harry like this, do we?
Mm-hmm. They're fucking with your son. Yeah. Again, Remar, just incredible. Game for anything. Seeing all these new flavors of Harry through what Remar was doing this season. I mean, just the king of dad jokes is an incredible actor too, and just a joy to watch.
And then the next scene is one of the highlights of the season, undoubtedly, is the scene with Dexter and Charlie in the car. Oh, so good. And
I'm sorry, I can't really hear you yet.
Sorry, David. It's the scene in the car with Dexter and Charlie.
Oh, okay.
And particularly, well, they're both great, but Uma's performance, the emotions she goes through just with her face, astounding. And I'm sure, you're nodding, Scott. I'm sure you guys were delighted with it as well.
It was when the first take, we were watching it at Video Village, and we're just like, I mean, that was perfect, right? I mean, we gotta get closer, but that was amazing. Yeah. Those two, again, just like put two pros in a car, ZAYAS and Michael, Uma and Michael, and it's incredible. Yeah. She's great. He's great.
Yeah, and it's the mention of her mum that shifts her demeanor, and she confirms her dislike for pretty much everything about Prater's club, as we thought we'd picked up on her disdain, and she talks about how Prater exploits weaknesses, and Dexter at this point seems to resolve to kill Prater. He doesn't fit the code at this point. Obviously, that changes by the end. Do you think he does?
He does. Oh yeah, it's a lot like Tony Goldwyn's character. Was it season 2 or 1? I forget which season.
The psychiatrist.
I'm blanking. Yeah, the psychiatrist. He didn't actually kill anybody. He manipulated these women to kill themselves. And this guy is paying Gareth, the Trinity killer, to go off and kill. He's allowing. He's facilitating all of this. So to us, he fit the code. It's just that Dexter really want to do this yet, because there's a part of him that sort of likes, this guy celebrates me, like that was.
Yeah.
But he was ready. I think at that point he was like, all right, here we go.
It's got to be done. And the threat against his son.
Yeah.
As a father, he's going to protect his son, isn't he?
Yeah.
So then we move on to a scene where Batista's back. Although we first see Wallace and Oliver. How'd you say his surname?
Oliva.
Have I been saying it wrong all season? I called him Oliver. And
it's
we
the
see
British
that,
way.
Yeah, we see that Wallace took Dexter's theory about the weapon seriously, which was good. And then Batista arrives and sadly starts the final humiliation. I was a little surprised how, what's the word, obtuse she's been towards him. I don't know if that's the right word, because she's a seriously smart lady, no question at all. Clearly she'd given some thought to Dexter's idea about the weapon. I expected her to give a little bit more thought to Batista's theories, despite her issues with his methods. And it's a shame. I guess the manipulation from Dexter did its thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He shaped the battlefield again. He said, look at, he was a great, he said it with such like conviction and love. He was a great dude. I loved him. Yeah. But jokes happened, and then his wife, and he just kind of went off the rails. And then she finds out that from Quinn that Batista just up and quit. I don't know what's up. He's never done like it was. I don't know what's up with him. And then to her, it's like, oh, from the very beginning, Batista's been lying to me, saying he's a cop, which is like a sacred thing amongst cops. I would imagine, like, to lie to another cop and say, even though he'll always be a cop, but it's just all tumbled into a direction that she's just like, I think it's wrong.
But also what's good about that is that Batista, doesn't make the right choices. I think he's sometimes blinded by the emotion of, how he feels about it. And so, I guess he felt, Scott, you could tell me better. He felt like if he just comes out and tells him the truth, they're going to just tell him to stay out of it. And he's going to have to try and do it on his own anyway.
Yeah.
So it's really Batista, as much as he has a moral compass to do everything the right way, sometimes makes mistakes and cuts corners and pays for it. He pays for it. But even in the original series, he got in trouble a few times, and he, took responsibility, but there were consequences to that, and so I think that it's like, he's not he's not the perfect cop, but he's got the perfect urge to like try and seek justice at this particular moment. He could have used Quinn and Masuka to help him out, but I don't think he wanted to get them involved because they, number one, would say, well, we're not going to do that in New York. And I think it would have just opened up like some information that they didn't want to. I mean, 12 years, they've tried to like put it in the back of their head. So, and also probably Batista wasn't even quite sure, like 100%, that this was the only thing he knew was that he's still alive. The only thing I was surprised that he didn't tell him Dexter's still alive, because then it would have opened up all these, all these problems for him. So what he did was to protect, his circle and just take care of the business at hand that he should have, identified decades ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your performance in that scene was terrific. Again, portraying the realization that as the mood in the room, and hang on a minute, this meeting isn't going to go the way I thought it was going to go. And then just the final in the the dig in the ribs is taking the badge. That's like cutting your legs off. It's
like ripping a scab off.
Yeah, pulling your heart out.
And the way you like double tapped that badge, like you were good to me, and now it's gone. Like it's heartbreaking. Like it was like hand acting, but it was amazing. It was heartbreaking. And then the look across in the bullpen, like he gave up that too. All of these things that Dexter just destroyed Batista's life. Yeah.
And then
the thing that's great is like Batista, much like Dexter, he's also this sort of optimist that when that door closes and then he sees Prater and we see the gears turning and we see like, oh yeah, he's not done. He's far from done.
Yeah. And then of course Batista seals his fate by going to the house. And as soon as he's in fight? There, it was. I thought you gave a good account of yourself.
Yeah.
In the mansion. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
but
It's
but once Charlie showed up.
Yeah, once Charlie showed up, then
Yeah,
that was it.
It was over.
But I love that. I love that he opens it with like, get your hands off me, you rent a cop, and then he succeeds to take on the, and there's the moment in the office, when Batista first meets Prater. It was a couple of seconds before the scene started that I'm looking at these two guys with bruises that I caused, and it's almost like, sorry, you guys got in the middle of all this. Sorry about that, but things got carried away. But that was a great scene. That was a fun scene to shoot.
And that was you with when I remember you saying when the first time when Uma grabbed your arm and brought the arm up around you, and it pushes in, and you're like, holy shit.
Oh yeah,
that was like genuine.
That was genuine. That was David going, oh, she's got a great grip. Holy shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
It was good. Beatrix Kiddo
she's such a professional that no one got hurt in that scene, and she was so like there was a couple of times where I guess I didn't go with it, and she just stopped and explained, and she was just such a professional about it. And it was great. It was I don't have too many scenes with her, but it's great that I have those scenes with her. It was really fun.
And that look that she gives when Batista says, "No, it's Dexter Morgan. I worked with him for 20 years," and then her look to Prater like, I told you so.
Told you.
I'm good at my job,
Yeah. And that was the point. I thought there's no coming back now. As soon as Prater saw the photo, I thought he's screwed. This is it. And it's just you're just counting the seconds then until it happens. But first, of course, Dexter's preparing to go to Prater's, and he's making some remarks about God or gods, and this would be an appropriate time maybe to pray to someone. You mentioned on Final Cut, Scott, that you talked about Dexter considering God, and obviously it was a theme on a previous season. I'd not really picked up on many hints of this season, although obviously the whole concept of resurrection is a story straight from Lazarus in the Bible. But I like the notion that he's thinking about it though in this moment of crisis when the stakes could barely be higher, and in fact not even as high as he realizes in that moment until he sees Batista lying there. And he wishes he has a God that he could pray to. Is he doubting himself at that point?
I mean, he's doubting. He's worried about what this could. He's sticking out Elon Musk, right? Like this is it's a big decision that he's making here, and he's got to plan it perfectly, and it's got to work out just right. And the stakes are high because it's not just himself anymore; it's his son, and he wants that thing to happen. And I know it was one of the things that Michael talked about with Clyde and I when we were initially talking about the possibility of this, of like, he was interested in Dexter thinking about something bigger than himself, that this, that there could be, it's insane that Dexter has gotten away with as much as he's gotten away with. And if so, does that mean that someone's looking out for him? And what does that mean about his mission in life? And ultimately, it's still, he's still very self-centered. The prayer is about help me, but it's Dexter thinking about mission and why I'm here. And it's all leading to where we're going to go, in future seasons. And these are the questions that we ask, I'm in my 50s, right? So these are questions that I'm asking as I look back at my legacy and I look at my kids and I look at my relationship with something bigger than myself. And it ultimately grinds Dexter into something that's much more human than even he expected, and it was important. It was important to Michael. It was important to me and Clyde, and I'm proud of how that all kind of worked out. Michael's little prayer. okay,
Yeah.
little help here, God.
Yeah. Significant for him. But I mean, it's the scene we've talked about it a little bit already. It's wonderfully staged, beautifully acted, fantastically written, and I think it's no perfect, really. I must be honest. You were getting feeling a little bit emotional earlier talking about it. When I was all right until Batista's revealed on the gurney, and then I could just feel it in the pit of my stomach, and I was thinking, no.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah. This is what David Zayas has done to us. He's created this amazing, fully fleshed out character that we have loved for 20 years. And it's because of what he has brought to it, and the humanity that he has brought to it, and the humor. I mean, I know you don't think of yourself as a comedian, and you're not. I mean, but you're funny. Like, you just make everything about him real and true and grounded. And we all fell in love with this guy, and that was the quandary of the whole season. Of like, it's one thing for Dokes to come after Dexter, because Dokes was sort of portrayed as an antagonist, from the start, and it was funny, and it was hard, and it was all of that, but we put the audience in this position of like, well, no, I love him, and I would rather he just not do this, like it was, but it was also completely true, and the way you played it, Zayas, was so on point.
Thank you.
Yeah, like,
thank you. But it was really it was an honor. I've always loved this character. From the beginning, from back in 2005 when we shot the pilot. I always knew that if this runs long enough, I can really, kind of sketch out a really great character that I would feel proud to like talk about. I've done a lot of roles where I'm a bad guy. I was on Oz and other shows. Gotham. I wasn't. So it's kind of like, it was kind of refreshing for me to do a part where he's not a super cop. He's not a super bad guy. He's just a ordinary Joe who happens to have a big heart and was he was trying to be as best a cop as he possibly could, So it was fantastic. And, if in the beginning, I was just supposed to be a forensics guy back in, and they said, now you're going to be a cop, because they wanted to get that kind of relationship in the bullpen, and have him there a lot in the bullpen. And I thought that was fantastic. And I was like, I welcomed that. It was great.
Yeah. And Dexter frees you. He cuts the tape, and he was, even in that moment, he was holding on to a little bit of hope that you might turn on your mutual captors and maybe fight side by side. And for a moment, I think probably a lot of fans did too, but it wasn't to be. And I guess the weight of everything that Batista had been carrying just led to him being enraged.
Right.
And it all just exploded.
It's not a easy thing when you think you're about to get killed with a knife over you, ready to go. And like, he's not thinking about that he's gonna cut me loose so I could try and fight. I mean, he's kind of in a panic, Batista. He's like, I can't believe I'm gonna die this way. It's like, this is crazy. And so when he has the opportunity to let go, he goes right to the source of everything that's been going on, and that's Dexter. And I think I don't think, it's almost like he doesn't think that, he thinks his danger is only coming from Dexter at that moment. So he's responding, he's reacting with someone who, I mean, this doesn't happen to Batista every week. He doesn't get almost killed, and so this is a new it's a new thing, and it really brings a lot of anxiety. And just, me being a real cop, there were times where we were in situations where the stress was high, and everybody handles it differently, and it's really, I think that was that's I'm going to go to the source that I've been going after. That's why, and he's right there. And I don't feel that. I think it's right. I think it's reasonable, and I think it's logical to understand why Batista didn't say, all right, let's go get them, Dexter. It's just, it's as soon as he got cut loose, that's it. He's almost was killed, and now he's going to, take care of the situation himself,
Yeah. It adds to the tragedy of it when you think about their relationship and where they came from, and like you were saying, Scott, or you, David, about the 30-year relationship going back to the events we saw in Original Sin, and again, emphasizing what benefit Original Sin can bring to the present day show. I was watching today on YouTube some compilations of their moments together, and there was one that I was sat watching with my wife, and we both caught ourselves. It's the moment in season 2 where Dexter says, and I'm going to paraphrase, something like, "If I could be like anyone, it would be you."
Yeah.
And Batista doesn't know what he's on about. You're talking crazy. But when you watch that and see
in season 2, Batista's reaction to that was, I don't know what that means, but thank you.
Yeah.
He really doesn't know what that means, because he doesn't know the reality of who Dexter is, so it was like, and I think that's a great example that you gave, to bring it full circle into that last scene in the vault, and the reason why, I think it's so good, and it was such a connection. And I don't know if that was the way it was meant to be, but I thought about that moment you just mentioned also, about when Dexter got Batista out of trouble in season 2 with Lila, I remember, and he said that to him, and I see it now, how that just came full circle.
Yeah.
Also, like, from Batista's, when we were writing it, from Batista's, like, I really try to just think about the scene from everybody's point of view when we're putting it together. And from Batista's point of view, the knife is above his head. He's about to get stabbed, and then the bindings come loose, because Batista's like struggling the whole time, right? Like, there's no, he never stopped. He never just was like, oh, well, here it comes. Like, he was straining against it, and suddenly they're loose. Mm-hmm. So in Batista's head, there is no, well, Dexter just freed me. It's, fuck, I'm free. I'm going to kill him. That's it. Right. Mm-hmm. It's, from Batista's point of view, that's all there was. It was, the world had just become myopic and become just this, what I've been after, this is my last chance to finish him.
Right.
And then he says all of that, and in such a heartbreaking way. And then Dexter's response, of there's some sort of, I forget the exact words, but like there's a sense of justice in that I'm going to die at the hands of my friend. Like, Dexter said that, my friend, still, in spite of all of this.
Right.
Powerful stuff. Yeah. And tragically, again, for Dexter, the cycle continues, doesn't it? This damage and destruction to people who dared to care for him. And who are we left with now? Harrison.
Yeah.
So, do we now fear for Harrison's safety in the long term? But that Batista's last 2 words are going to haunt Dexter, aren't they? This person who once looked on as friend, brother, insofar as Dexter could think of someone as a brother who he's not directly related to, you know what I mean? Brother from another mother. and then it manifests in that scream. And you mentioned it earlier, Scott, and I think we've only heard that scream once before. Was in the bathroom after Rita, when he kills the redneck in season 5, and all that emotion.
This one was bigger, I think. This one was, again, this was in the. I mean, you were there, David. Like, Michael was just like, I feel like I got to do something more. Like, he was just. It ended in sort of silence, and him and Dexter sort of like cradling him, and on the page, and then as they were working it out, Michael was just like, man, this is destroying Dexter, and he needs to react. And in some ways Dexter is reacting for us as viewers, with that scream. And again, another one of those moments where, like Dexter says, I'm not human, I have no emotions, but we see it. It's real, it's there. And it's growing.
And I had a I remember going to Scott saying, Scott, those last 2 words, is there something else he could say? Do I want to end it that way? And then that was just David, the actor, not thinking about the entire story, but just thinking about, his character. And I just realized, no, this is the way. This is, after thinking about it and rereading it, because I read the script 15, 20 times before I shoot it, right? So just in rereading it, and then like maybe in the 11th time I read it, I'm like, this is what he is supposed to say. This is where his, and it made total sense. So, and I remember telling Scott, hey, I was wrong. You're right. Let's do it this way, and it was.
For the record, I did, like, we Clyde and I sat back and we tried to think it through, and we had options ready just in case, but it just felt like at that moment, Batista could not let him off the hook. No,
he could. That was the absolute right thing to do at that moment. And after, and then reading it after that a few times, I was like, this is it. This is the right thing to do.
And it breaks our hearts, the way you delivered it. Just, a dying breath. This man that we love, this kind human, Dexter did this to him. And all the hurt and the pain and everything. These are 2 friends. This is, it's one of the worst breakups in television history.
It would have been a disservice to his character, wouldn't it, if he'd forgiven him or said anything other than "fuck you,"
It wouldn't have been great TV like it was the way it was written. I think that moment is, and I'm sure, I'm not an internet guy, but I just been bombarded with, like, people talking about this episode as being one of the best episodes of the entire franchise, and it is one of the best episodes of the entire franchise, because the stakes are so high in this one, and it's really it's an amazing thing.
And I would even argue that, like, because I was part of the Rita episode, I co-wrote that thing, but I feel like this means, even as much as Dexter cared for Rita, what he had with Batista was something much deeper. And which is, just being like, please, because Dexter doesn't care about forgiveness. He doesn't ask for this from anybody. But in that moment, he's just like, I just need you to know, I didn't kill LaGuardia, and I didn't kill Deb, and that doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, and he might as well have done, because it was indirect, wasn't it?
That's what he says. Yeah. But it's your fault. They're dead, just like me.
Exactly. Yeah. So that brings us to the end of Batista's run, I suppose. Well, obviously we said never say never, but what would you like? What would you like Batista's legacy to be, David?
I think what I would want his legacy to be is what it actually was, and that is that he maintains his integrity throughout, and he did. He didn't avoid it. He didn't try to turn it into something different. He stayed true to himself, and he did it the best way he could do it. And so I guess his legacy would be that he maintained his integrity throughout,
and he didn't burden anybody else with it. Like his friends, like he was going to, like when he had enough proof, he was going to present this and bring Dexter down.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it his way. It's
yeah,
he did. Where would you like to see Dexter's story going from here, David? I don't know if you have any inside knowledge of what's obviously about the finale, but for future seasons, longer term for the character. Do you have any feelings of what you'd like to happen?
As a just me being David, I don't really try. I try not to think about what's going to happen tomorrow. I try to just live for the day, And I think that it's not. I don't feel it's my place to say what I think the story should be after this. I think that that's in the trusted and proven hands of Clyde and Scott and the rest of those great writers. And they deliver over and over and over again. So I am just as curious and just as excited to find out what the next chapter of Dexter will be, but I don't have any suggestions, because what the people that are doing the stories are just a lot better than me when it comes to
what we do know is Batista, what happened to Batista is going to affect and shape Dexter from this point forward.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Who Batista is and proved to be meant so much to Dexter that it's going to. This is a bombshell that went off. These are these big moments that happen in life that shape you and turn you into something different in some way or another. For sure.
Yeah.
That's what Batista has done. That's what David Zayas has done. That's what to all of us, Yeah. Man, I love you, David Zayas. Oh my God.
I love you
we
too,
all do, David.
Yeah.
do you have
everybody should be
moment?
So lucky to work with David Zayas. Like,
oh, thank you.
Every writer, like this guy delivers. He thinks through things. He brings human emotion to everything. He finds ways to, like, even when we mess up as writers, he finds ways to make it real and good and great. He's put it out there. Everybody should work with David Zayas. He's incredible.
All right.
He's incredible.
That sounds good. Thank you, though. Thank you.
David, do you have if I was to ask you, is there a moment from the run of the show that exemplifies who Batista is or was?
If there's a what? Can you ask that again? Sorry.
If there's a moment from the show that exemplifies Batista,
or even some of your favorite moments, some of your favorite scenes, or like I have one in my head, but I'd love to hear what you. Yeah.
I and it's just it wasn't a big scene, but there is a moment where if somebody was to come to me, David, and ask me about God, that's going to make me feel like, all right, there's a connection there, regardless of what I believe or what it is. So I think there was a moment, I think it was in season 4, actually. I think it might have been in season 4 where Batista, I told him, Batista tells Dexter, did he get into that Catholic school?
Oh, yeah.
And and Dexter's saying, he kind of like challenges me to talk about what what exactly is that religion? Is what does that mean? The God? And Batista couldn't answer it. He tried, but it's just basically faith related, you know. And I just felt like those kind of moments, and that happened a few times in the original, made that connection solid, and made whatever happened in Resurrection that much more powerful.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes, if I may, is
yes.
You and Desmond getting high in the car during the stakeout.
Finding a marijuana cigarette. Yeah.
I don't know. You know, it was such a great human again, just like it was, you know, better than anything Cheech and Chong ever did. Like, it was just great.
Yeah. And then the next scene is us with munchies eating potato chips.
And again, we just love those two guys, you know. Again, yeah. That's one of my favorites.
So
I remember just watching the dailies while I was eating lunch and just like laughing hysterically. Back in the day when we put the DVD into the tray and watched the dailies.
Right.
I wish I had those still. I would like upload them because you guys were on fire. It was great.
Maybe Clyde's got them somewhere in his bottom drawer. What's next for you, David? What have you got in the pipeline?
I don't know. I'm available. I don't have anything yet. I'm gonna go to London, like I said, to visit my wife a few weeks while she's working over there. And you know, something always comes up, but right now, nothing in the horizon.
Yeah. And Scott, I think we can guess what's next for you. Is season 2.
Yep.
It's been talked about that the schedule for that's been brought forward with everything that's happened. Have you got an idea of when the writers' room is getting back together? Is it imminent?
Soon. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, soon. Yeah. We've got good plans, and you know, things to push Dexter through, and they're all very like very human, very relatable things, you know, and just in a heightened sense.
Yeah. So we move into the finale. Our thoughts as fans turn to how Dexter's going to get out of that vault, and with the place about to fill up with police officers for the gala, the stakes are going to be quite high again. I fully expect Harrison, as I say, to take that waiter's job and maybe search the building for him. I wonder if Harrison's going to be sent for some wine or something and finds his way up there and sees his dad's phone. Who knows? We will on Friday.
On Friday.
One of my listeners said he hopes that Dexter may do something to perhaps, if Batista gets found, to do something in some Dexter-y kind of way to present Batista as a hero in the story, and maybe salvage his reputation as some sort of parting gift back to Batista. That would be nice. But it's a sad fact of life, isn't it, that sometimes tragedies happen and people don't get a happy ending, and it's a bitter pill to take, and for someone like Batista, it's awful for him and sad for us as fans to see it happen. Scott, David, my sincere thanks to you both for giving up your time today to chat. It's been brilliant to get your insights and give Batista a good send-off. Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, thank you, Zayas, for coming on to this with me.
No, thank you for calling me and letting me know. This is magnificent. I love it. Thank you.
Let's not
wait
David.
12 years to do another one. How's that?
Yeah.
That sounds good.